Hi, my name is Rick Howell. I'm a TV guy, and this show is called Talk Back to Television. It's about the business of television, how we make the programs, how we distribute the programs, and mostly how we pay for the programs. Because if we can't pay for the shows, there's nothing to watch. Stay tuned. Hi, this is a special edition of Talk Back to Television with my friend Jon Giegengack from Hub Entertainment Research. John, how are you?
Hey, Rick, how you doing? Merry Christmas.
I'm doing very well, as is my alter ego here. And as we were saying when we were getting warmed up, to be a good Santa, you've got to have a good hoe. So here we go. All right. And speaking of Santa and Christmas, it would appear that a lot of the distributors have a lot of undiscovered Christmas presents under the tree in terms of content that has been made and put on their platforms that people just don't know about. So, John, what are you learning about that?
Yeah, so we have a study that we do each year called Conquering Content that is devoted to what kinds of shows people are watching and critically, how did they find out about those shows? We've done that every year since about 2013, and so there were some really interesting things that we found this year. In particular, one of the really interesting findings was that in the survey, we asked people to tell us about a show that they recently discovered, in the last 6 months that's become a favorite. And we asked them a whole bunch of questions about that. But one of the things that we asked them is this show that you found, is it a brand new show? So this is the first season, it's a new release, or is it an older show that has been on for several seasons, or maybe it's not even on at all anymore? And we found that 2/3 of people said that new favorite show that they had discovered really wasn't a new show at all, that it was a catalog show, a library show, or a show that isn't even on anymore, and they were just watching the library episodes. And that is a trend that we've seen before, but it's been continuing. 2 years ago, it was only about a little bit less than half of people said that new show was a library show. The other half said it was a new release. And so that really got us thinking, but it kind of stands to reason when you think about the amount of shows that were produced during peak content, that the quality of many of those shows is high. A lot of viewers feel that the quality of shows now is higher than it's ever been before.
A lot of star power in those shows. Yeah,
exactly. But there were just so many created that, the number of new scripted shows, if we go by the numbers that John Landgraf releases each year, has more than doubled in a pretty short period of time. But the day is still only 24 hours long.
Right.
So there's
literally not enough hours in the day to watch all the good stuff.
Yeah, so there seems to be this big kind of reservoir of quality shows that people sort of know in the back of their minds are there, but they haven't had time to watch them yet.
Okay. How can a distributor, a platform, make the determination on what they should invest their advertising time and money in on that catalog? Is it at all about the hits, or is there what we call back catalog stuff that's valuable?
I think there's a lot of back catalog stuff that's valuable. And the really interesting part about how these shows spread is that when people are streaming shows, those shows tend to spread organically. So that same question we asked about that favorite show, we asked people how they heard about it.
Yep.
And if somebody watched that show on linear TV, the most likely way that they found out about it was through an ad. If they watched it on any streaming platform, they were most likely to have found out about it through word of mouth. And so not necessarily recommendations from the platform, but a recommendation from somebody that they know. And I think that's another really interesting way about how these library shows spread, is that kind of nobody knows what's going to be successful. And a lot of times it's just dependent on the algorithm or something going viral. And I think that's why we saw, Friends for a while was the most popular show on Netflix, even though the kids watching it weren't alive the last time there was a new episode released.
Yep.
Suits is one of the most popular shows on Netflix right now.
Just amazing.
Squid Game was a new show, and that got really popular, but nobody has any idea why. I don't think it was by design. So I think that another really interesting thing about these library shows is that is that I think a lot of them can be successful without necessarily a lot of marketing or advertising put behind them. Because if they're on the platform and people have heard about them elsewhere, they're going to spread organically.
That's interesting. We just saw that Hulu had acquired the rights and released all the episodes of LA Law.
Yep.
30 some years ago. And I read some comments this morning that some of the early viewers of that are saying people had car phones. People smoked in the office. What was going on? There wasn't as much traffic in LA. What was going on 30 years ago? But they are glossy. They've been restored. I think that's a sort of a critical element for that stuff. They now have been popped up to 1080p and higher, mm-hmm. So they really dance on the TV screen. But, you know, with a little bit of marketing from the metadata on who those people are and the shows and what have they done since and all like such as that, and bringing up the quality, like you said, if they can attract some audience, it can go viral, literally go viral.
Yeah, I think, you know, a good show is a good show. And we're finding that viewers increasingly don't distinguish between something that's new and something that's just new to me. I haven't seen it before.
Yeah.
And what matters the most is it a good show? And even library shows maybe will even have an advantage there because they will have many, as you just mentioned, many back seasons and lots of episodes to watch. And whereas new releases, maybe you can only watch one episode at a time. So there is a lot of appeal in finding something that is high quality and that there are a lot of episodes available so that it kicks the can down the road as far as the next time you have to go through the whole scrolling discovery process and looking for something good to watch.
Well, you know what? I find myself, and I'm sure I'm not alone in this, when I find something I like, I will have a tendency to bring it up and binge it. I've been kind of working my way through The Good Wife and then the sequel to that, which was The Good Fight, I believe.
It was.
On Paramount. And, you know, there's some terrific stuff in there, and it's exceedingly bingeable.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's funny watching some of the old shows that I mean, they're still bingeable, but I get a kick out of watching. I just rewatched like the original Justified.
Yeah. Oh God, yeah.
That's a great show. But watching how those are made for live TV, where there's like the little mini story arc within each episode, and then if you go and watch something like House of Cards that was written from the beginning with the intention that people were going to binge view it, and the way that the story kind of has a much longer arc, it's kind of fun to go back and watch. I'm one of the people that I haven't watched LA Law, but I totally get. I do things like go back and like rewatch like Miami Vice just to remember what things were like in the 80s and just get a kick out of it that way. There's a lot of cool reasons for watching old shows that don't apply to new shows.
Okay, so we're about done, but I want to ask a specific question about Justified. Timothy Oliphant playing Raylan Givens, right? And then you look at him and you said, okay, when you're going to market that show, do you also market, well, Deadwood? No, that's on another service. You can't market Deadwood because that was on Max, but you could market The Mandalorian because he appeared in a couple episodes of Mandalorian, complete with wearing
basically the Star Wars Raylan Givens in Mandalorian.
Except that Justified is over on Hulu.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, wait a minute. Mandalorian's on Disney.
Yeah.
And that's Hulu.
They could. Yeah,
they could make that one work, couldn't they?
I think they could, yeah. I mean, and a lot of you know, a lot of the library shows, they're banking on the fact that people heard about that show anyway. So I think a lot of the marketing's already been done, and you can now capitalize on the fact that that's sort of been in the back of somebody's head in their mental hopper.
Yep.
And now they have a chance to watch it without having to sign up for something new. So I think there's a big untapped audience for a lot of these library shows.
I completely agree with that. All right. Well, guess what? That's really good news. We have a lot of programming gifts under the tree for our audience this year. And
David Trone, the only Democrat for Senate who's never taken a nickel from special interests, who's always been an impassioned opponent of the death penalty, who's endorsed by Maryland's teachers. If you want a senator that can actually change things, there's only one choice.